mine's completely different.
Yeah, well, you can see that.
So I went from bands like Guns N' Roses and Metallica, and I wanted something a lot heavier.
Yeah.
And then I started getting introduced to death metal. So I think the first band that I got introduced to was Cannibal Corpse, and I thought
They scared the shit out of me the first time.
And it was really awesome. Like, it was Eaten Back to Life. It was the first album, and having songs written about car accidents and a family of 5 dying, and I thought this was absolutely amazing. Very aggressive, very, very aggressive music. Really enjoyed it. And then next came Deicide. So I've got Once Upon the Cross here on vinyl, but my first Deicide was Deicide, and then I was very lucky to be able to get Amon on CD. But this was I loved Benson's voice. I loved what he was able to do with that two-tone thing. They were coming from a very Christian background, going through a very, very rebellious stage. All the things that you were not supposed to sing about.
Ironically, that was the band that put me off death metal originally.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I heard was Serpents of the Light, which was an awful fucking song.
Oh no.
And that was like, people are raving about this is horrible. And I put death metal aside for years, even though the death doom side.
Yeah. So there was Deicide, and then obviously a newer bands. We got Boston, which are a great band.
Oh, fantastic.
So there came that, and I really enjoyed that. And it was just when I started playing bass, and I remember, I can't remember what song it was now, but this first song I was taught on bass was a Morbid Angel song. Needless to say, I didn't touch the bass for a long time. After that, I was being taught by a guitarist as well, so it was a nightmare. And then after that came, you talk about Merciful Fate, King Diamond, right?
Yeah.
So this was the first album that I heard, and it was the instrumentation on this album, I think, that absolutely caught me. He just, for me, it had always been, metal was always guitars and drums, bass, and that was it. And suddenly you've got all these other different sounds that are coming through on this album. There's also, obviously, as with King, all of King's albums, they're all stories. So I think that definitely drew me to that. You could understand, you could understand what he was singing about.
Narrative.
So it was all narrative for me. That pretty much took me right up into most of my life, up into obviously bleeding into what I have started getting into currently over the last couple of years. So but that's kind of where it went for me, and I've never looked back on some of the older stuff, which is...
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of high school, I started clubbing and I started hanging around with the goths, and that's now another massive part of me. And it wasn't just goths though, it was the weirdness. It was 90s alt rock in general. There was this fantastic thing going down there. People were like pushing boundaries and rules and messing with noises. And I suppose they did it in other decades, but this one was the one that was important to me.
Yeah. And
I mean, so if I had to sum up the 90s, even though, that shouldn't be in there, but I discovered them in the 90s. I mean, that Joy Division's from the 70s? I think late 70s, yeah. But that album's like, oh, hold on, what's going on here? And of course, hanging around with the goths,
Fields.
I discovered the Fields and the Nephilim.
See, I found they were too slow for me, because I first listened to Fields and I was into death metal. And as much, I actually enjoyed it, but I wasn't ready for it by that point. It was far too slow for me. I was very into my aggressive music.
You see, at that point, I would have said about Fields you were wrong, and you would have said to me about death metal you were wrong, but we grew into them at later stages.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is it. I mean, okay, this is all over the place now. But out of that weird period, I mean, I discovered Nick Cave.
Yep.
This was the first album I heard of his, Let Love In, Red Right Hand. I was going to the station
Yeah.
on Thursday nights, which was when all goths went.
Yeah.
And we all used to dance Place in the Wall. It was fantastic. And I used to play that. It was brilliant. The Pixies.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, that band, yeah, completely different to Nick Cave.
Yeah.
But
Kim Deal was actually when I was playing bass.
yeah.
Kim Deal was one of my biggest inspirations as a bass player. Was her and Flea.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I started playing guitar and I was trying really hard to be precise and clean and fast, like, because that was it at the time, along with the Onion on the Belt, you know.
Yeah.
And I heard Pixies. It's like, because I'm not a clean, fast and precise guitarist, and you hear the Pixies and they make noise.
Exactly.
I can make noise. And wow, that was an eye-opening thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and out of this pile, the other one that I think there's two more that deserve a lot of mention. Firstly, it's Gary Newman.
Yeah.
He, again, old, discovered him in this period of my life, but it was what he did with electronic instruments.
Yes.
Like Depeche Mode for you.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I hated Depeche Mode when I first heard him.
Yeah.
Now I've grown to love him, and it's through Gary Newman.
Yeah.
And these guys are discovered later in life. Oh, that's a heavy pile of vinyl. Is the horse, the Babylon horse. Well, I call him the horse. Radio rock, ultra radio rock,
Yeah.
sounds very safe on the outside, but it's some of the most evil and twisted and acidic stuff I've ever listened to. You want commentary on life and on social situations, this is the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, well, as I said, I got into my doom, so there's all the standard stuff there. Uncle Acid. We love them. Anathema. I discovered them only late, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'd heard of the Peaceful Three, but I could get Paradise Lost. I could get My Dying Bride. I never got my hands on any Anathema until later in life, and it was like, oh, I've been missing out.
Yeah.
Sleep. Everybody knows Sleep. I mean, the band that can make an album out of one riff, 70 minutes long. I could go with Paradise Lost, the original Doom. That just snuck in there. And You Were Into Your Death, I wasn't.
Yes.
And then suddenly that changed. I don't have it on vinyl, but a friend of mine introduced me to Septic Flesh's Sumerian Demons.
Yeah.
And the penny just dropped for me there.
Yeah.
And I got more and more into my extreme levels of music.
Yeah.
And yeah, since then, I mean, stuff that's come up. Coffins. Fantastic band.
Yeah.
We stalked them last year for my birthday, remember?
That's great.
They were, I mean, stuff like Triptykon. I absolutely love Triptykon. A lot of people rave about Celtic Frost. I won't lie, I'm not a fan of the very early stuff.
Yeah.
Later Celtic Frost and Triptykon, however, though, where it's that mixture of darkness and noise and texture, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And newer band, Hooded Menace, who without, to be fair, I wouldn't be playing guitar today.
Yeah.
Because I put the guitars down, this album dropped, and it's like, oh wait, this makes sense. I can do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.